numbers versus observation. The community is now very concerned with these new numbers. As you can well imagine, we lost 28% of our enrollment. They don't reflect what we see. There's never been so many new families and new development in Cooks Mills, but unfortunately, there's no evidence of that using the calculations in the 2006 census data. Our area has unique demographics compared to others. We're very different, and we're comprised of two cities, rural Welland and rural Niagara Falls. So in looking, we thought, okay, did everybody lose 1/3? Did the birth rates in Welland drop that much? What could the explanation be? And what you can't see so well, perhaps, is that we are the only ones that lost 1/3 of our enrollment. The other schools, for the most part, went up, with the exception of Plymouth, that dropped far less than 1/3. So we looked, is there newer data? Well, the 2006 census data is as good as it gets. It's 5 years old, but we won't have the new data until 2011. We attempted to see if the city had data that would be a more accurate reflection of what we're observing, but it doesn't exist. And I talked to Rose DeFelice, and she said, concerning population statistics, the census is the most reliable source that we use. As you are probably aware, the city can be divided in various ways, so you probably can get values for what can be reasonably described as the east side, although they will be a little dated. And that's our misfortune. The information is dated. It's just the timing of the review. So what changed that resulted in 51 less children in a few months? What could have changed in a few months? The census data couldn't have, and trends related to enrollment couldn't be that drastically affected, reduced by 1/3 of the total enrollment by 1 year. So we asked that question at the January 28th ARC meeting. Why? It means a lot to us. We've been told that our forecasted enrollment number is the reason Colon is recommended for closure by senior staff's option. Despite it being the cheapest of the 5 schools to maintain, is accessible and doesn't require major repairs, our projected enrollment is low. It's now forecasted to be 50% capacity by 2018. At that January 28th ARC meeting, Linda requested Christine to explain the difference, and she noted it was related to the 2009 enrollment data. That was the reason that changed the outcome from a 2018 projection of 142 in May to a 2018 projection of 91 by December. She also noted that that year was an anomaly and not the norm, which we're grateful. We have far more enrolled this year. The same question, parking lot answer, and I'll spare you. It's essentially the same answer. A little bit more detail. And what's important here is that the JK enrollment was revised based on the historical trend. So there's got to be more to it. We're thinking it's like there's 2 different planners worked on these projections with 2 different professional opinions and differing methods and knowledge about the subtleties of the area. And in the reports, it's even noted that enrollment forecasting is both an art and a science. Projections can vary drastically based on the assumptions used and who does them and what additional information they may use and what you are trying to prove. There are, in fact, at least 2 professional opinions. At the beginning of the process, Richard Stark was introduced as the person for statistics and boundaries, and then I actually stumbled upon the job posting, which I'm assuming that that's the one that Christine was the successful candidate for. And it was in the fall that the enrollment numbers in the subsequent reports changed drastically. So the May 9th report could not have been done by her, so you do now have 2 people. So different planners, different methods. What you have is more than one planner, more than one method, more than one set of assumptions and differing opinions and information related to East Welland's community and Cooks Mills, and 1 year of additional enrollment data. Both forecasts are very professional and well executed, but 2 artists painted 2 very different pictures. Add in other opinions. The Cooks Mills community doesn't agree the projection of 91 in 2018 reflects the future community. We have our feet on the ground and we know the community is changing. These were accurate in the past, now they're quite different. Are they still accurate? We don't know, nobody does. You can't gaze into the future. The past enrollment figures have traditionally been accurate. Will these ones created by another artist be just as accurate? We don't have a crystal ball. So we're asking why not look at both, one conservative and one not. Often the reality will fall in between. And why not present the whole picture? If we have 2 sets of opinions, 2 differing projections, would it not make sense to present both, a high and a low? This isn't an exact science, it's also an art. Projections can vary drastically based on assumptions used. To give the whole picture, you need to look at these assumptions, to look at the high and the low, and determine a median. And these assumptions, I have to note, are very complex. I think it's quite a detailed calculation, and I'm sure Christine can tell you, it's birth rates of the Niagara region calculated per municipality and then assigned to each area. So the community is concerned now that the staff used a low number to back their option. When the staff option was presented to close Corolla, it was backed by the worst case scenario for our school, to be put at exactly 50% capacity by 2018. We don't know what to think. The conflicting enrollment projections have caused confusion. The assumptions are complex and not in clear language. They don't reflect our observations, and they don't seem to take into account the uniqueness of our community. But in fairness, this isn't something that is presented in just numbers. There's this huge irony on the horizon. This slide here was taken from a presentation that was done on the City of Welland's official plan, and it was presented in December. One of the key issues, in fact, the first issue listed in the upcoming official plan for the City of Welland is Cook's Mills. The city is trying to figure out the best way to create growth in this area. They're looking at infilling policies that will permit growth along serviced areas. But unfortunately, it may come too late to save the school, and the efforts will be undone if the school closes. Is a forecasted number validation to shut down a community? Low enrollment projections are the reason enrollment has been targeted for closure. Projections are based on assumptions and a mixture of art and science. Statistics and projections can vary greatly to paint many different pictures depending on what you wish to see. Thank you.